Welcome back to the channel, everyone. Thank you for stopping in. Today we have a knife to unbox coming in from the Tuya Knife Company. This is something I picked up off their website a couple of days ago, which I will have all of that stuff linked down below in the description. If you like knife and EDC content, you are in the right spot. I release daily videos. Make sure you are subscribed here and hit that thumbs up button. That helps push the video out there to more people. Let us know what you're carrying in your pockets today down in the comments. So we got nice packaging here. We got a metal card for the knife, and then we have a really nice Tuya branded leather slip here. And then inside we shall have our knife. And this is the new Tuya Rackham jack, and this is a limited edition, a limited run. They only did 71 pieces, I believe, of each version. There's 4 versions, and the last time I looked, there was less than 10 left of each, and some only had like 2 and 4 left. So hopefully by the time you're seeing this, there are still some in stock. Like I said, there are 2 different versions with 2 different blade shapes for a total of, so what, they did 2 of the Segaha and 2 of the Jigged. So there's 4 versions total. You have 2 with Segaha and 2 different blade shapes, and then 2 with the Jigged titanium and 2 separate blade shapes. This is more of the drop point, and then they have a Bowie style blade as well. They're going to be coming in M390 steel, and I chose the Segaha. I'm a big fan of that pattern. I have quite a few knives that have the Segaha pattern. I don't know how it's pronounced. I don't think anyone really does. We have a beautiful belt satin on that drop point blade, M390 for our steel choice, and then they have them individually numbered right there, which is really cool. This is number 43. This is something I saw on Instagram, and I was like, man, that's awesome. And I thought they would be all gone. You know, I sat around, thought about it for a couple of days. I thought they'd be all gone. I went to the Tuya website and looked, and sure enough, there was still a few in stock. We have a milled titanium clip here, and we have a titanium backspacer. This is supposed to have a very traditional look to it. Hence the name and the aesthetic of the knife. You have this very short pull here on both sides. Love that swedge that rolls to the tip there. It gives it a nice characteristic. That looks good, but this being a completely flat ground blade would have looked pretty sweet as well. But I do like that swedge rolling to the tip there. You got the little Tuya logo up close to the scale. The detent is nice and snappy. That flipper tab is placed oddly low, but it works oddly well. It's like a push button light switch, and the detent is tuned so you can overcome. Typically you want to be up above, even with or up above the pivot to get enough leverage to really send that blade sailing, right? But if you tune the detent enough, you can go below that pivot, and this is a great execution when going lower than that pivot and still executing a good action. So that detent is going to be tuned very, very well. I don't know if we can use, oh, you can. So you can use the short pull there to reverse flick this thing out. You can get underneath there. It's sharp enough that your middle finger, the skin is just going to get grabbed very easily by that short pull. Ooh, you can thumb flick it out too. Not the most, how do you want to say it? Not the most conventional style of a thumb flick, but it can be done. The reverse flick, however, is like aiming, you know, a little bit low of a cutout, but it's right where my middle finger lands. I don't have to adjust at all. I'm right there already. As soon as I grab this knife, that is right where my middle finger goes. Typically, you got to kind of raise it up a little bit to kind of get up in here, angle up, In this case, I'm already there, and it's a nice, easy flick out. So this is pretty cool, actually. And if nothing else, you have that flipper tab, and that works extremely well, surprisingly well. I don't think most designs pull that type of thing off. Typically, when it's this low, it just doesn't work because they're not tuned well enough to work. As far as the size of this thing, it's a pretty healthy size. Let's get a measurement here, and we're looking at 3 1/4 of cutting edge, and then about 3 3/8 of total blade length there. And we're coming down, it's shy of 7 1/2. We'll call it 7 and, no, it's actually shorter. We'll call it 3/8, 7 3/8 if we want to be very precise. As far as the comparison up against some other knives, we have the Elementum here and the QSP Penguin. It's going to be a more robust knife than them. It's not much longer. It is a little longer in handle and in blade, but not by much. But it is a more robust, thicker knife. And then we have the Bug Out here and the Parrot 3. I think we have a little bit more handle here. But if we move that over just a little bit, I think we're going to find that the Parrot 3 is almost identical in its length. And we got 2 more here, the 20.5 and the Ritter Hogue here. It's going to have that robust feel of the Ritter Hogue. Not going to be quite as large, but it's going to give you that more robust handle. And it's going to be very similar to that 80 20.5 size and Parrot 3 size. As far as the weight is concerned on this thing, it's got that contoured, robust handle, but it doesn't have a ton of heft. At least doesn't feel like it has a ton of heft. We have a bunch of milling internally there for weight relief. It feels good in hand. It's not overly heavy either, so a lot of people will enjoy that. I'm going to say that this weighs 3.6. Ooh, 3.4. Okay. I was going to say it's very, very light. I could tell it was right around that 3.5 mark, which if you are a ratios person and you want your blade similar to the weight, this is a great candidate for something like that. As far as what the pocket clip looks like in the pocket and how does it work, let's take a look here using our Issuing Stitches cloth, and good retention over that initial hump there. And there you go. It is going to be very clean looking in the pocket, and you will have some protruding out of the pocket there. But that is something I enjoy about a milled clip. It looks really good in the pocket, really clean. They feel good in hand ergonomically, and it gives you the ability to have a little platform here to grab a hold of the knife and pull it out of the pocket, as well as return it back to the pocket and not be interfering with the carry. So very well done, very sleek and clean looking pocket clip. I don't see any issue with that. Is that going to be, I don't know. Oh, no, it's not. I was going to say, okay. So it looks like that's partially recessed in there, and that is going to be right hand carry only, as the way it appears to be to me. So right hand carry only. Man, yeah, this is a really clean design. Like I said, I'll have this linked down below in the description. They do chamfer the show side out here, and it's not a real long access to the lock bar, but there is access there, and they chamfer that off nicely. It is easy to get to, easy to disengage, and this has a very controlled closing action. Just a couple of light shakes. As this breaks in, clean it up a little bit, maybe put a little bit of oil around there. It'll be even better. But that's pretty solid there on the closing action. As far as the blade, it's pretty close to centered. I would say maybe it's off just a smidge to the show side. There is no pivot lash in there. That's got a great detent there. Or did I say pivot lash? No, detent lash. And it has a very solid detent. There's no pivot lashing there. On a soft open, we are looking at like 35% lockup, which is pretty good. No movement side to side or up and down. Very good, very good. That centering could be adjusted. Probably it might be over tightened from the factory or under tightened. Might be over tightened from the factory is how it usually goes. So while we're thinking about it here, let's go ahead and we'll check that edge. Beautiful looking blade. And I think that they are all satin blades. Beautiful edge. Very good. Nice and sharp right out of the box. That is exactly what we want to see. Last thing we need to check on is that lock. Make sure it's not going to just willy-nilly slip off there, as I say. Willy-nilly. Go ahead and check this. It has a good lock up there. 40% or so when you really give it the gas. Yeah, like 40% or so. Okay. Very good. That is exactly what we want to see. Very good. That is merely to just make sure that the blade is not going to slip off the lock. We don't want that tang slipping off that lock bar just from a very, rudimentary tap on the spine. That should not be failing a lock. Anyone who is arguing against that, I would not give them one piece of your attention. If they're telling you a locking knife should not be able to withstand something like that, I would not be listening to that person, but that is just my opinion and mine alone. Also, it has been said by some to wait and do not check them out of the box. I also disagree with that wholeheartedly. I would want to know and do want to know right out of the box, how is this knife performing on all levels? If it is something I'm going to keep in my possession, I want to know how it cuts, how it handles. Is the lock good? Is it strong? Is it holding up? Is there sharp corners, sharp edges? You want to go over that knife with a fine-tooth comb and be able to ultimately say, yes, this is a keeper, it is good to go. Or if there is an issue, whether it's with the lock or a very subpar edge or whatever it might be, you want to know that as soon as you possibly can. That way you can start to make decisions on returning it, exchanging it, whatever it might be. That way you're covered in a, decent amount of time and not going past warranty or this or that. The sooner that you can find an issue, if there is going to be one, you can present it to the company or the retailer. Let me know what you think of the new Tuya Rackham jack. I love hearing from you guys. Hit that thumbs up button. That helps push this video out there to more people. And if you are new here, I release daily knife and EDC content just like this every single day. Make sure you are subscribed here to the channel. Ring the bell. That'll notify you anytime I release new content, even when I go live, which I do every Saturday and Monday night, 9 p.m. Eastern time. Anyone and everyone is welcome. I would love for you to stop by. I will put up a couple of new videos. Go check out one of them. Have yourself an awesome day. Thank you all again for watching. Catch you on the next one.